Hello, and welcome to another 5-minute Bible study. I'm Carl Santos, the pastor at New City Church in Calgary. So today we're looking at Philippians 3, verses 7 to 8. Now, I'm going to jump right in because I have a lot to say here. Let's look at three specific things. Let me read it first. But whatever gain I had, I counted as loss for the sake of Christ. Indeed, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. For his sake, I have suffered the loss of all things and count them as rubbish in order that I may gain Christ. Now, let's look at three things. I'm going to put them in here, if you don't mind. Let's go with green here. The first one is he uses accounting terms, okay? And now let's look at it really quick. But whatever gain I had, I counted as loss. Indeed, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. For his sake I have suffered the loss of all things, count them as rubbish, in order that I may gain Christ. So Paul is intentionally using language of an accounting nature to show an exchange. Think of a balance sheet. One column is gain, one is loss. You can't double dip. A figure must go in either debit or credit. It can't go on either side. And I will add that this counted, by the way, is probably better translated as consider or considered. So some of your translations may have that. I think the ESV guys chose to keep it as counted to make it consistent with this accounting talk. Now, Paul is making it very clear. It is the old life and the new, and it's a complete exchange. Okay? You cannot keep any souvenirs of the old life. That is the first thing you notice here. Paul's saying his old life and the new is embraced, the old is discarded. The second thing, let's go with purple for this one, would be tenses. Look at the tenses that they use. And by that I mean past, present, and so on. So look at here in the first verse. It's in the past tense, okay? Past tense. Whatever gain I had, I counted, okay, as a loss for the sake of Christ. So he's in the past. And then all of a sudden in verse 8, he jumps into count and worth of knowing Christ and so on. So now he moves to the present. Why is that? What Paul is doing is he is saying that the old decision, once upon a time I had looked at my life when I accepted Christ and I realized all these gains I had, the way I saw things changed. It shifted. I had a renewed perception on what it means to have gain or loss in my life. I made that choice in the past. Now, in the present, writing to you Philippians, I affirm that I made the right choice. Okay? So he is affirming his past choice. Sorry for my writing. Okay? So that's what's happening as well. So first it's an accounting, old versus new. And then he's affirming and saying, I made the right choice. And then let's use yellow here for the third one, which I would call all or nothing. Okay? And look at the language again. When Paul refers to his past gains, his old life, he uses very vague and very big terms. So whatever gain, so everything. Indeed, at verse 8, I count everything as loss. And then down lower in that verse, he suffered the loss of all things. So what Paul is saying is, in my past life, I had some gains. Okay, and Paul had real good things in his life because of the way he was living before he became a Christian. He had social status. He had power and status as well. I'll put that in there. He also had moral achievements. Okay, I'll just put atch. He had morally achieved. Sorry again about my handwriting, just terrible. These are things he had in his life. And he says, these were gains. But I came to see them not as gains, but as loss. Okay? I saw them as loss. But look at what he does now, and I'll use red here. What he gave up all of these things, and what did he gain? Christ. Singular tense. So we have plural up here. So these are plural. 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 Then he goes singular. Christ Jesus. Singular. Christ. Singular. So what he is saying is everything has been changed. I gave up all of my old life. I didn't just give up social status or power or my moral achievements and my self-earned righteousness. I gave up everything, and all I gained, air quotes around all, is Christ. He is saying it changed my entire perspective. Everything Everything changed. The way I saw gain and loss was transformed. And as C.S. Lewis says, Paul realized he was not going to be able to keep even one souvenir of his past life. And he happily did that. And that is what he is affirming here in Philippians 3, verses 7 to 8.